Welcome to It's All About the Questions, where learning to ask the right questions can help you achieve lifelong success. Now, here to help you ask all the right questions is award-winning author, international speaker, and business strategist, Laura Stewart.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone, and welcome to the show. For my regular listeners, you know I always say good morning, afternoon, and evening because people are listening to this live all around the country and around the world via iHeartRadio. And you may be listening on the podcast, and people in over 60 countries are listening to my recordings of this live show on iHeartRadio. So thank you to all of you in whatever time zone you're in and whatever day it is, because some of you, it is actually a different day, even if you're listening live. I really love having you here, and I love all of your feedback about the show because you're why I do this show every single day, and I hope that you love it and that I'm providing you value. I'd love to know what other kind of guests you might like to have on, so please reach out to me via social media at The Laura Stewart on all of the platforms, or via email at laura@laurastewart.com. And today's guest is somebody I've known for, a number of years now, since before my book came out, What Would a Wise Woman Do? Questions to Ask Along the Way. I was helping a dear friend, Rick Frischman, out at his Author 101 event, and I ran into this amazing woman who happened to comment about the fact that I was walking around with a boot on my foot because I had broken my foot the 2 days before I flew out to the event to help a friend out. And we've just become friends since then, and she's absolutely brilliant at helping people get PR. And that's public relations for their businesses. And she wrote a book called PR for Anyone, 100 plus affordable ways to easily create buzz for your business. She's got an amazing website. She speaks all over the place on the topic. And I'm just grateful to have her on the show today. So Christina Daves, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, and that brought back such great memories. You meet people years ago, and you forget how you met, and I remember exactly you sitting at the table in your boot, and that's how this all started.
Yeah, and then you were looking to publish a book that is not the book you eventually published, and you're online waiting to speak to agents and everything, and I'm like, do you trust me? Let me just put you in front of somebody. I think this is the person you need to talk to. And it kind of changed sort of the course of things for you, which is amazing because it's exactly the way it was supposed to be because you trusted.
Yeah, it was a great experience. It really was. And I met some really great people that, have become friends for years now. And it's fun to be able to do this with you, to come back as it all comes full circle. And now with the publicity from the boot and being able to help so many people with great shows like yours.
And it's interesting because I always remembered you being this incredibly personable person, very focused on what you wanted to do, but very accessible. And I remember watching, I think it was Good Morning America one morning, and there you were behind the stands. Was it Good Morning America?
It was the Today Show.
Today Show, okay. And you were holding up one of your boots that you developed with CastMedic Designs, and we're going to talk about that. And afterwards, you ended up getting free publicity right then and there for your boot and this wonderful stuff that you did. So let's talk about how you got started, because you're a serial entrepreneur. I mean, you founded and run 5 successful companies over the past 20 years. You won lots of awards. You were on Steve Harvey, and you won a Steve Harvey Entrepreneur Award. And I think you're getting ready to do something with QVC.
I hope so. Fingers are crossed. I'll know in about a week. But yes, as I tell my students, I'm walking the walk every day with them, doing the same thing that they're doing. I'm pitching the media. I'm pitching QVC to do something that I love. It's the stuff that I teach works if you follow the system and I do it. That's how the Today Show is a crazy guerrilla marketing stunt, but it worked. And not everybody's going to go to New York and try something like that, but I just think it helps people realize that anything is possible to get visibility for your business if you're willing to try. There's no magic pill. You have to work, but it does work. And when something like that happens and you expose your business to millions, hundreds of thousands in your local market, it's a game changer.
Well, that's what I think is so interesting. It really is a game changer, and it can work so quickly, yet it can take a really long time. And I don't think people realize that. They think, oh, I have something really cool out there, whether it's a product or a service, and they're like, everybody should just want it. But it's about getting the word out, right?
Right,
so,
and that's the thing that people get so nervous about is telling people how great they are. But in today's day and age, with social media and just the fast-paced world that we live in, you have to be your own megaphone. It's really important that you tell the world about your product, your service, your brand, because if you don't, somebody else is going to do it for their own business, and you're going to miss out.
Yet, what I remember from your book, PR for Anyone, 100 plus affordable ways to easily create buzz for your business, and from the emails that I get from you every week, it's not just about tooting your own horn. It's about tooting your horn the right way, the most effective way that shows the value of what you have. Is that correct?
I was going to say, yep, the valuable way, right. Everybody has a gift. Everybody, I don't care if you're a business coach and there's millions of business coaches, a real estate agent, there's millions of real estate agents. Everybody has something that they do uniquely. And that's how they can provide value to their audience. And that's what's so important, is providing that value in everything you do. So it's not, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me. It's here you go. This is value add, value add, value add. And then, oh, you like all this? Well, let's work together. But the more you get that value out, including free publicity, is how you get that exposure to so many more people.
Yeah, why do you think it is that so many people have trouble defining the value in what they are providing?
I think, and I find this when I go to networking events, I think people are just so worried about the bottom line, the dollar, everything is buy from me, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me. It makes me crazy when I go to Chamber of Commerce events. Let's just talk. They say it's, you don't meet somebody the first time and say, let's get married. You go out on some dates and you have phone conversations and you get to know them. And it's the same thing with your business. You have to touch somebody 7 times before they buy from you. So if you can do that in the media, on an interview, on LinkedIn, maybe they join your mailing list, they opt into whatever value you're providing. They start to follow you on Facebook or Twitter. That's getting you in front of them much faster than we used to be able to do. But it can't be selling. It really needs to be, people are so worried about giving it away in an interview or giving it away in a blog post, or just, it's easy for us, what we do and what we love to do, but it's not easy for the people who are following you or are trying to get value from you. So you're just showing them, what you're talking about. You know what you're doing. You're the expert.
I remember the very first time after I started my tech company and I went to a Chamber of Commerce event, and everybody's like, so what do you do? And everybody was expecting an elevator pitch. Oh, so I help businesses with their tech so that they can achieve their business goals, right? And people are looking at me strangely because I said, but, that's really not what's important in this conversation. It's, I want to know about you and how I can support you and help you. Is there somebody in this room that you'd like to meet and perhaps I can introduce you? And everybody was blown away by that because I was like, well, it's not about me. It's about you. How can I help you? And
right.
I did it instinctually, right? I didn't know that that's the way to do it. And that's really what you're talking about, is you need to make it about the other person.
Exactly. And think about people you want to work with. Who do you want the person who's just constantly selling you something. You want somebody who's offered to help you and, provide value. And then they're like, wow, Laura's awesome. Like, that's the kind of person I want to work with.
And I love that whole concept. And we're going to go into our first commercial break in just a moment here. And I'd like everybody to think about this question before we go into our next portion after the commercial break that pays our bills here with Christina Daves, author of PR, founder of PR for Anyone. I'd like you to think about what is the value of what you're trying to sell people. What is the value of the product or service you provide? And we'll be back in just a moment with Christina Daves, founder of PR for Anyone. So I always talk about how success comes from not only what you know, but who you know. And I know Christina Daves, and I have to tell you, she's awesome. We've been talking with her. So Christina, thanks so much, really, again, for being on the show today. I know you have so much going on right now.
No, I'm very excited to be here.
All right. So we started talking about how when you're really trying to do PR, one of the important things is to begin to understand what your value is and begin to talk about that. Let's jump right into some ways that my listeners can begin building PR for their business. And I know you've got some really great, simple, easy things that they can do.
I do. So I figured out a formula that works. I call it my Get PR Famous formula. And it's basically 3 prongs, 3 approaches. It's being newsworthy, i.e. valuable, creating a great hook, and finding the right journalist. So I'll give a couple tips on how to become newsworthy that are super easy, and the media loves them. One of the things is there's what's called the non-traditional calendar. Think of IHOP on National Pancake Day. So what can you do to your business that relates to one of these wacky holidays? I was actually on, and we didn't really get into my product. We said briefly about the boot, but I have a fashion accessory line for medical boots. So if you break your foot or have surgery and they've got that big ugly boot, I can make the boot look pretty. So one of the first times I was ever on television was in April, and April is National Healthy Foot Month. And that was what I pitched, and that's how I got on. A client of mine has a food product called Slausa, which is like a combination of coleslaw and salsa. And she heard Dylan Dwyer on the Today Show talking about how she loves toppings. So she mailed some Slausa to Dylan Dwyer, and on National Hot Dog, Dylan said this was her favorite topping on her hot dog. So it's free publicity. So it's a great way to get yourself on TV, in newspapers, magazines, by doing a little bit of research and seeing how you can connect to a non-traditional holiday.
So a lot of it's sort of watching the shows that you'd like to be on and finding out what the hosts and stuff like?
Absolutely. And I say this to everybody listening, there is no magic pill. You have to do work. You have to do, but it's fun work, and it's the results. If you get on the Today Show, you have 7 million people who learn about your business, is tremendous. So yes, do your homework. If there's a show that you want to be on, watch the show, make sure you know, and don't pitch something they don't do. I got a regular segment on my local ABC on Good Morning Washington. Had I pitched that idea that I do every month with them to my local NBC station, they would have been like, why is she sending this to us? Because they don't have a morning show, and it's really applicable to a morning show. So by doing that homework and then following my formula, it's, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's easy. People get results when they, do their homework and follow the steps.
Well, I think at that point, what you're saying is you can't just pitch because you think that's the right venue for you. It has to fit their venue too.
Right. It's all about them. You get the benefit of getting the exposure, but it really is about their audience. You have to be able to provide value to their audience the way they like to do it. If you if you pitch your story idea and you say, oh, I see that every single month you run a column about X, Y, and Z, I'd like to propose ABC for that column, and you've done your homework, your odds of getting covered are so much higher than if you're just throwing spaghetti on the wall.
Okay, I totally get that. You know, when I have a friend, Patricia Knoll, and she actually created one of her own holidays. It's called Good With Me Day, based on her book.
Perfect.
And one of the things she did was she created a Good With Me Day, and we talked about it, and she got the mayor of St. Petersburg to declare it a day every year. And now the city is very involved with the day. But she saw a need in the community for self-esteem for people and created this day. But she knew, because of what she was doing in the community, that she needed to do that.
I love that. I have a client that I worked with who's a real estate agent up in Boston, and the town that she lives in is where Lydia Taft cast the first vote of a woman ever, voting, and she got Lydia Taft Day approved. This is a couple years ago. This was during the last presidential election, and then she ran an essay contest in her town to kind of kick off Lydia Taft Day about what it meant for her 200 years prior. And now at that time, Hillary Clinton was running for president. You had a woman running for president. And she got so much media coverage, and everything was with her name, comma, local real estate agent, is holding this contest and doing all this stuff. And imagine, you're a parent, and this person's holding this essay contest at your child's school and in the community, and she got so much coverage, not about being a real estate agent, but everything, she sponsored was with her name as the real estate agent. And it was tremendous for her.
Okay, so then how, using that example, and I think Domino's Pizza is filling potholes, which has nothing to do with pizza, except tangentially, it's about making your pizza get there safer. How do you know where's a good sort of aside to make yourself newsworthy versus promoting newsworthy about your product or service directly?
Isn't that a very good question? Again, it's pay attention to the media outlet. How do they cover things? For example, my segment is called Try It Tuesday, and I highlight products. So people are now watching my segments and sending me products. But some shows wouldn't do something like that. And they might feature something that has value to their audience, that's not so much highlighting products, but more of what this product does and how it can change your life type of thing. So that's where the homework comes in. How do they cover stories related to your business?
So how does your segment, Try It Tuesdays, help you get business as either PR for anyone or for CastMedic Designs?
Yeah. I work with, as you can imagine, a lot of inventors come to me to say, hey, how did you get so much exposure for your boot? How did you do this? So I work with them, and then when they see me on TV all the time, first of all, there's a possibility I can get their product on. And I don't charge people to get their product on the segment. It's strictly products that I love, that I think are cool, but I love to have a great inventor story. I just did the last one that I did was a 15-year-old boy who invented a product. That to me is a great story. It's local, it just has a great feel to it. But that's it. People want me to show them how to get on TV. Because I'm just like them. I have no background in anything. I just pitched and pitched and pitched, and I got a lot of no's until I finally got my yes. And so I'm walking the walk, and that's why they want to work with me. So
it sounds like that whole newsworthy and considering to do something that's not, say, about real estate, but it's about this essay contest. It's about something that you have passion for, that you believe in, so the honesty of it comes out, that gets you exposure into the community that you are trying to sell a product or service to. Would that be correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's putting you out there, again, not necessarily in a salesy position. It's putting you out there in a valuable position.
Okay, and that's one way to get newsworthy, and another way to be newsworthy may be directly about your product, like you did with the boot on National Foot Day, right?
Right, but I tied it into that, and we actually brought in some other products and some other things for that segment.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Well, we're about to go into the national news break, and you talked a lot about pitching, Christina. So I think when we come back from I know when we come back from the national news break, that is such a hot topic for so many people wanting PR. They don't know how to create their hook or their pitch. So can you help us and give us some examples about that?
Absolutely.
All right, so everybody, stay tuned, because you are not going to want to miss how one of the best people I know at PR helps you figure out your hook and how to pitch. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone who's listening live on iHeart. If you are on the podcast, this was instantaneous, and you didn't have to listen to national news or our commercials that pay the bills here at the radio station. But we have some good commercials and some great sponsors for the show. We're here with Christina Daves, founder of CastMedic Designs. She creates all these awesome, cool things that make your medical boots, when you've broken your foot, that big black or gray boot, and allows you to coordinate it and make it look really cool. But she's also a founder of PR for everyone. For anyone, which is really everyone.
Yeah.
I crack myself up sometimes when I'm doing live stuff. You just never know what's coming out of your mouth, so you got to roll with it. So, Christina, before the national news break, you talked about newsworthy, and then you mentioned the pitch a lot. And I know that this is something that my listeners struggle with, and I know I've struggled with it. When I had my tech company, I never struggled with it. I had PR all over the place because my pitch was making tech easy, But when you go to something that's not quite so concrete, or that you can't figure out your value, you have to pitch to a lot of different people, and you have to know your hook. What can you share with us to help that process for people?
The first thing is to personalize it. Make sure you know who you're pitching and see if they've done other articles. You can say, I've been following you. You want to give them some love. So make sure you'll just be more successful that way. So that's the first thing. You always want to keep your pitch super short. And I always say, think about the emails that you get. Do you want the one that's a million paragraphs long? Or do you want the one that's bullet, bullet, bullet? Okay, I get it. I can reply quickly.
Give me an example.
If you have okay, I'm just trying to think like something that I would pitch. So back to school, and you're a chiropractor. So you would say, now we're back to school. Kids are using their backpacks. Statistics show, bullet points, 75% of kids' backpacks are too heavy. 80% of kids are wearing backpacks incorrectly, so they're having back problems, and something else like that. I'd like to propose a segment idea of showing how to correctly use a backpack, how to get the weight down on the backpack, and how to carry it effectively.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. So any chiropractors listening, or anybody knows a chiropractor. I love that. It's absolutely perfect. So using the fact that the time period right now, it's back to school.
Right. But you should have really been pitching this 2 weeks ago. There's a calendar involved in pitching. If you're pitching national magazines, you need to pitch 4 months in advance. If you're pitching a product for the holiday gift guide, you need to pitch it in June, which is kind of crazy if you think about that.
Well, considering the stores I was just in over the weekend already had entire aisles devoted to Christmas.
Oh, stop. Really?
Yeah, like entire aisles. All devoted to Christmas. And that was September 1st, literally. September 1st. All Christmas. There was barely any Halloween. It was all Christmas.
Oh, gosh.
But that's good to know. So there is a time period for the pitch. If you're too late because you think, oh, all of a sudden I'm thinking about back to school now and we're September 4th, it could be too late, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly. Their back to school segments are booked. And because that's a popular time of year, people have been pitching them for at least a month.
All right. So you want to keep your pitch short and relevant and give some love to the journalist.
Exactly.
Do you just say in your subject line of, say, if you're sending an email, I mean, do you do it via email? Do you do it via physical mail? Do you do it on the phone? How does somebody pitch?
Email.
Okay.
I wish I had the number in front of me, but there is a study that was recently done. I think it was 80 or 90% of journalists want to be pitched via email.
Okay, so how do you cut through the clutter of the thousands of emails they're probably getting?
It's your hook,
okay,
which is your subject line. So I'll give you guys 2 super easy tips on how to figure out great hooks. Look at magazine covers. People get paid a lot of money to get you to make that impulse purchase. Where are magazines? They're in the grocery store checkout aisle. You don't have time to read the article. You have time to read the hooks on the front of the magazine. And the next thing is, when you're watching the Good Morning Americas or your local television programs, when they say, coming up next, that's a hook. That's a hook to get you to stay through the commercials.
Sort of when I said, stay tuned because she's going to give us some examples of hooks.
Exactly. And if there's a chiropractor on the line who stayed through, they got their pitch.
All right. But, okay, so here's where I struggle, right? Everybody wants to do some sexy email subject line. But most of the time, they tend to come off kitschy or like they really have no relevancy to what's going to be in the body of the email. Does that matter?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me why it matters.
Authentic.
Okay.
You don't want to put a subject line just to get them to read it, something sensational, and then it has nothing to do with it.
Our friend Steve Olsher is like master at email subject lines. If anybody wants to get on his email list, he's just got some amazing subject lines for his emails.
I save his emails for that.
Say that again?
As a matter of fact, Steve, I save his emails so I can look at his subject lines.
Okay, so that could be another way for people is to look at emails that come in and what catches your eye, but it needs to be authentic. And I think that's such a key piece. So how can we help my listeners create hooks that are authentic to what they are really doing?
So again, like I said, magazine covers are my favorite thing to use for hooks. So find the magazines where your customers are, where your story ideas would come from, and see what they're doing.
All right, and what if you aren't certain where, and we've talked about this a lot on the show, but I want your opinion on it because you're really brilliant at this. You're not sure where the clients are hanging. How do you start to narrow that down to find the right medium for it? That is your number one task as a business owner. Right.
If you don't know where your customers are hanging out, watching, reading, doing, and there's so many avatar exercises that you can find, but you have to know who your target customer is and everything about them.
It seems so simple, but I know I know my listeners have struggled with this. I've had so many guests on, and I love reading your book, PR for Anyone, 100 Plus Affordable Ways to Easily Create Buzz for Your Business, which is available anywhere books are sold, right?
Yes, everywhere, yep.
Everywhere. Because you talk to this about the clients so much. So once you figured out who your client is, and the reason I brought that up is because I want people to really understand you can't just create something without understanding who your client is. Otherwise, no matter how much you listen to Christina, you're not going to get PR, right? You're not going to get the right PR.
The right PR, exactly. People think, oh, I need to be on the Today Show. Well, that's great for credibility, but if you're a local business owner, brick and mortar, you want to be in your local newspaper because that's where your customers are. Those are the people who are going to walk through the door and buy something.
All right. So that leads to your third part of your formula. You have newsworthy and hook, and then finding the right journalist or reporter. Let's talk about that. So how does somebody determine who the right person is?
Okay. This is going to sound really crazy, everybody, but there's this amazing resource called Google. I know, it's crazy. But if you type in who writes about real estate for the Sun Gazette, whatever your local paper is, wherever you're trying to get, you'll usually get their name, their email that has a little pre-populated thing that you can click on it and it'll pull up the email, and the phone number for follow-up.
Okay. And then what's the next step after that?
That's really the easiest thing. I say sometimes for some of the bigger publications, it's harder. You might have to go to page 2 of Google. But and most journalists are out there. They're at events. They're on press releases. If you dig just a little bit, you'll be able to find their contact information.
All right. If you find their contact information, do you recommend that people just send them blind responses or perhaps start to create a warm relationship another way?
I always recommend building a relationship with them. Social media, whatever platform you're on, if you're on Twitter, if you're on LinkedIn, look at their articles, follow them, share their work with your audience. Maybe offer somebody else up. Hey, I read this great article you wrote about X, Y, and Z. Do you know about John Smith in Tampa who does this? He's amazing, brilliant. He's quoted all the time in the media. It might be somebody to reach out to. So
don't be afraid to send somebody else in the early stages that would fit in alignment with whatever that person's talking about.
Exactly. And then you become valuable to them.
At what point do you then turn it into, hey, I've got something I'd like to talk about in your magazine, on your show? Is there a moment that you know?
It could be if there's something that happens in the world that's applicable. When I got on Fox for National Healthy Foot Month, I had actually watched a segment that the anchor had done and tweeted at her. I said, oh my gosh, I love that segment you just did. And she said, oh, that's great. If you know any other products that might work in this segment as well, please let me know. I said, well, a matter of fact, I do.
And with that, we're going to go into our last commercial break. We'll be back with more from Christina Daves. Okay, so we were talking about how to find the right journalist and how to get them to almost ask you to be on the show. What other ideas do you have for my listeners for getting PR for their products or their services?
Yeah, again, as I mentioned, the most important thing is that value, and it's the value to the audience. We were just talking about, knowing where your customer is and knowing, what they're reading, what they're doing. If you're pitching the media, you need to know who their audience is. For example, when I do my morning show, I know that demographic is, about a 30 to 35-year-old stay-home mom, usually, has kids, has money, is watching this. So that's how I had to propose my segment to them. So if you're pitching a financial publication, probably wouldn't send your cookbook idea to them. So it's really important that you're really smart about it. Don't just send out these blanket pitches because they know they're blanket pitches. It's really funny. I met the editor of the Washington Business Journal at an event. And when I told him what I did, he said, oh, my gosh, people need you so badly. He said, I can't tell you how many emails I get that say, dear bracket, insert name here. Now, how terrible is that?
It doesn't fly anymore. They expect you to be a more intelligent pitcher. Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly. But when you do your homework, and again, I always say put yourself in their shoes. If somebody's sending you an email to sell you something, but if they say, for example, I just had somebody who took my email when you first signed up to my list and he rewrote it. He said, I do copywriting. At first he asked permission. He goes, I'm a copywriter. I follow you. I've been following you for a while. And he do some things that I did, so I knew that he really was following me. And he said, would it be okay if I rewrote your initial email, to see if, and I was like, wow, yeah, I'd love to see that. I'd love to talk to you more. He completely providing value for me. Now, I know eventually he's going to try to get me to hire him, but he just gave me a ton of value at the onset. And it's the same thing when you're pitching the media. Make sure that they know this is going to be super, super valuable to their audience, and their audience is going to love it.
I love what you said, though, that he asked first if it was okay to rewrite it. Don't just assume, because that's kind of an insult, even if you have good intentions, right?
And he did word it very well. He said, I love your emails, I love this, but I could make it even better. It wasn't like, oh, this is terrible. Let me show you how you should do it. It was. He did a really nice job the way he wrote that email.
So it is somebody that potentially could improve things, or you could send out to your clients as part of one of the resources that you have out on your website for people as well.
Exactly. Yep.
All right, I want to make sure that you share your information about how people can sign up for your emails and get your book and everything, because I actually had somebody pop their head into the studio at the news break and go, this is such a good show. So people are listening and they're loving what you're talking about. So how do they find out more?
Awesome. Well, PR for Anyone is the website, but I'd like to invite everybody to join the challenge. I have a free 10-day PR challenge. It's really easy. It's less than 10 minutes a day. My videos are short, and it's do this, and this. And the people who have taken the challenge, I have a travel agent who got a regular spot on one of her morning shows. Somebody's been featured in the Wall Street Journal. I mean, these are big, big media outlets just from doing the free challenge. So that's yourprchallenge.com. Or like I said, and I'm everywhere on social media, PR for Anyone. So find me, connect with me on LinkedIn. It's Christina Daves. And if you have questions, you can reach me through the websites too. But try the challenge. It's like I said, it's amazing, it's fun, and people are having great, great, great results.
And that's yourprchallenge.com.
Yep.
Okay. Now, I love this about you as well, because you recognize that some people aren't going to do all the work.
Right.
They need some help for it, which is why it's sort of done for you. So you have a couple of services, and I'm really curious, what was the trigger that made you create some of these services, like where you help write hooks for people or give them the list of the right journalists for them?
Because as I mentioned earlier in the show, what's easy for me is not easy for somebody else. What's easy for you, Laura, when you talk about tech, it gives me highs. Like, I'm not good at that. You are great at that. So that's why if I can help people get over that hump of what they're not good at, because if you guys do this, and I'm telling you, because sustainably having a PR firm, most small businesses just can't do it. There's just no way. A lot of people will try for a little while, but if you learn how to do this and you make it part of your marketing every single day, and it becomes muscle memory that you just have to spend a few minutes a day on it, it's a game changer for your business. So if I can help you with the part that you're really struggling with, you can't find the right people, or you aren't quite sure how to write a hook, or you just need, one session to like a breakthrough strategy session, like help me plan out a year of media pitches. If that helps me help you, that's what I do. And that's what I love to do. And I love to see the results that people get.
And you've had major successes for so many of your clients and for yourself. I mean, my mom loved the Steve Harvey show, and I remember seeing you on the Steve Harvey show with your boot.
Yeah.
And that became because of a pitch, right?
Yeah. And I didn't realize it was for an inventors competition, but yeah, it was. And we didn't even get into Help a Reporter Out. We can do a whole nother show about that. But yes, it was a media pitch that got me on that. Well, and then I had to go through a series of interviews, but that's the pitch opened the door to get me there.
Okay, so we have a couple of minutes left. Let's just mention Help a Reporter Out, because it's a great PR for any one tool that you talk about all the time. What is it, and how do people find it?
It is. So it's helpareporter.com. 3 times a day, they're going to send you queries from journalists, all different industries, looking for quotes, looking for somebody to interview. It is absolutely unbelievable. If you put my name into Google, and you guys know you're going to Google anybody before you work with them, you put my name into Google, I'm now the first 14 pages of Google, or last I checked. Something, it varies a little bit. Most of that is from responding to Help a Reporter Out queries, because it's Forbes and Entrepreneur and, was Huffington Post, like these top-ranking blogs that just give you all that Google juice and push you to the top. But I will tell you, and I'm one of their biggest success stories. I've done some blogging for them too, but it's how you respond. So if it's okay, I'll give everyone just a free gift. It's free gift from Christina.com, but it's my formula for responding to HARO queries and why I've had so much success with them. I tell you step by step exactly how to answer their queries. And that too will be a game changer for you in terms of checking out with your potential customers, that when they look you up and they see that you're quoted in all of these amazing places, it gives you a ton of credibility.
And at the end of the day, credibility is what people are looking for when they decide to do business with somebody.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I just love how you help people get that, Christina. And, I've known you for a number of years now, and it's been a joy to watch you grow and build your business. And your book is something everybody should have. Everybody should be, if you have a business, you should be signing up for Christina's emails. And they can do that at PR4anyone, correct? .com?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, perfect. So I want to thank you again for being with me on the show today. I'm always excited to have a conversation with you, and you and I will be talking about a couple of things I got going on. And
awesome.
So everybody, you've got some free 10-day challenge from Christina at yourprchallenge.com, and you can also go to freegiftfromchristina.com and get some more information. But if you have a business or want to have a business, you need PR, and that's public relations, and it's not the same as marketing, okay? PR is great. Most of the times it's free, except for the work you have to do to put in that Christina talked about so much. So everyone, thanks for being on the show again today. Remember, the right questions can change your life. So what are you asking today? Have a great day, everyone.
You've been listening to It's All About the Questions, starring Laura Stewart. Connect with Laura at it'sallaboutthequestions.com and download a free workbook that will help you ask better questions starting today.